All right, welcome back to the Powers on Sports podcast and our Life of the Wife series. We are so pleased to have back the original person that we had on the Life of the Wife series, Miss Christine Arians. Everybody knows Miss Christine. She's the wife of just retired head football coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Bruce Arians, and we're going to get into that part as well. But Christine, welcome back to the podcast. Really appreciate you spending some time with us again.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me.
All right. First thing I just said, recently retired Coach Arians. Talk to me about how that transition is, Coach. For those, everybody, most people know, obviously, Coach Arians retired from the Buccaneers. He's serving in an advisory role with the organization, kind of not nearly as much day to day as he was as a head coach. From your perspective, talk about how that change in schedule and a routine is kind of the last 3 or 4 months, how that's affected you and the family life.
Yeah, well, this is his third try at retirement, and he's making it this time. He really is. There was almost an instant,
right.
He's like most athletes. He's at least a little bit ADHD, never could sit still. Not a sit-down conversationalist by any means, although he learned to do it. But it was obvious. I mean, it was very noticeable to everybody. And this is the story I love to tell. So a lot of coaches are this way. Like, they get home from work, they're exhausted. They've been going 24, just 24 miles an hour. That doesn't make any sense. 100 miles an hour. Anyway, and they don't really want to talk. So they come home and you ask them a question and they grunt and you say, was that a yes or no? And after about 6 questions, you get tired of trying and then you let them just be quiet. So he comes home now, not every day, but a lot of times he comes home all chatty and he just wants to talk, and we talk, and I'm thinking, who is this man? We've been married 51 years. And I've never seen this before.
You think it's just the kind of the weight of the pressure of the job off his shoulders?
It absolutely is. I think back when the kids were little, I was a stay-at-home mom. We didn't have any money. The kids and I would jump on him when he got home. And the poor man, we finally came to an understanding. Give him 15 minutes. Right. let him depressurize from the job. I hate to have to say this, but it's true. There's a lot of coaches out there that put more pressure on the job than is needed.
Right.
Pressure comes with the job. It's inherent, but
right.
Some coaches just add extra pressure and extra stress and just raise that stress level up. So we've worked for a number of those over the years, but clearly, obviously different. And he's enjoying himself so much. I really think it's going to stick this time. Not to mention, maybe nobody else would offer him a job. So
how fun is it from your perspective, whether it's on a Tuesday morning or a Wednesday afternoon, that you can, first of all, you can sleep in till 9 and 10 o'clock if you want to, or on a random Tuesday, you can say, Bruce, let's go to the beach for a walk on the beach, or let's go to lunch at whatever our little favorite spot is, or on a, just those kind of things that you kind of couldn't do probably as much especially during the football season.
Yeah. So he's, I don't know what his schedule is going to be like yet. I do think this football season, sort of this transition year, he'll be more involved, and we're both kind of used to doing our own thing. So I don't know how much of that's going to happen, quite honestly. Now, dinner, I think he'll be home in time for dinner, and we'll probably be doing that. But after this season, I think things will be way different. But he's really transitioning and hoping to help this team succeed.
Sure.
So,
how do you think? How excited is he that he was very involved in getting a Todd Bowles another opportunity to be the head coach, a guy that he's recruited in college way back all those years back at Temple. He's known Todd forever, and player and a coach, and Todd's been so instrumental in Bruce's success, and vice versa.
We're family, we go back. Bruce was 30, Todd was in his 20s. It's like, that's how long we go back. So that's what it was all about.
Right.
He really did not expect Tom Brady to retire after the season.
Right.
And had he not retired, I think he would have transitioned into retirement then. But it's like, I don't want to turn a job when you don't know if you're going to turn the job over to Todd or not, because you have to interview coaches and blah, blah, blah. But he wanted his guys to have a chance at success. It's so weird the way their league works. You take a team that's desperate enough to fire their coach and probably owe him millions of dollars.
Right.
And then you hire a guy, a lot of times that's never been a head coach before, and turn over a mess to him and then expect him to fix the mess. So that didn't work, at the Jets. And Bruce wanted to give Todd a situation that really he had a chance to succeed. And he totally knew he was ready for the job. So when Tom came back, I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this. Now, it's typical NFL stuff. It took 3 weeks to get it all worked out.
Sure.
there's
contracts and interviews.
stuff. You have to do an interview process, but guess what? Everybody was under contract. So how do you do an interview process?
Right.
They had to have a meeting, some committee meeting, and anyway, after 3 weeks of being quiet, it finally got done and was announced, and finally happened.
How obviously you and Mrs. Bowles, I don't know her. I don't know what is it?
Tanika.
Okay.
Tanika.
So you and Tanika, I'm sure obviously Todd was a head coach with the Jets before, so she kind of got the hang of kind of being the head coach's wife, but I'm sure there are things that you can offer her and tidbits and nuggets.
Well, we go way back together too. So the day they announced it, actually before the announcement, I knew she knew. So I went ahead and called her.
Yeah.
And, we talked a little bit, and she does know how to do it. She's been a head coach's wife. But we all learn how to do it because we're all assistant coaches' wives. We know what we like, we know what we don't like. Right. I reminded her, you don't work for the team, so you do what you want to do, because, ain't nobody giving you a paycheck with your name on it,
Right.
And she understands all that. And this was my thing. I said, so you're going to keep having monthly lunches for the coaches? Oh, yeah. I said, you're going to invite me? She said, oh, yeah. So I get still to see my girls, I'll tell you.
And one thing, one of kind of Bruce's legacies, I think, just from the outside looking in, is how his loyalty to his guys. I mean, he has so many of his guys that are on his staff now have been with him for a long time in different stops, whether it's college or the NFL, or he has relationships. I know, your son Jake, when Coach Christophel and all that stuff back in Mississippi State and all. How proud are you of Bruce of maintaining that loyalty, and how proud is Bruce of being able to do it his way?
Well, that's it. So he doesn't know any other way to do it, and he's not capable of doing it any other way. The reason I think he didn't become a head coach until he was 60, despite Super Bowl rings and lots of success, is that he doesn't play politics, doesn't know how, isn't able to, doesn't want to. But loyalty is part of who he is. His whole family is just extremely loyal people. And so loyalty has to go both ways. Right. We've also worked for people who wanted loyalty, but didn't give loyalty, So, the loyalty goes both ways. I don't know that I'm proud of it. It's just who he is, and it's why I love him. I can tell you that. One of the reasons.
And the other thing I would say, one of his big legacies as a coach, if he never coaches another down, is so many opportunities he's provided to African Americans, minority coaches, women coaches, giving them opportunities, especially in a league that's very It's very who do you know kind of a league, and they don't tend to get opportunity. Maybe the best coach doesn't get an opportunity. Just talk about how proud are you of him of giving those.
These are his guys. These are his guys and women. They're his people. So he doesn't think in terms of, oh, he's Black or minority or it's a female or what. It's like,
right.
Can they do the job? Are they my kind of people? So that's just, he played on a pee-wee football league back when he was a little kid. I won't tell you how many years ago that was, but it was a long time. He played for a Black head coach on a mostly Black team. He had a head back then of very blonde hair.
Yep.
And they called him Whitey because of his white hair. and that's just, they were his friends. That's who he played football with. That was his coach. That's just the way it is. And, because he was looked over for so many years, possibly because he doesn't play politics, who knows?
Right.
But the fact that he was looked over, he doesn't want his people to be looked over, you know? That's part of that whole loyalty thing. Yeah.
All right. I want a couple of career questions for you. Was there ever a time when coach was an assistant coach, let's say in the NFL or in college, that he regretted not taking a job that maybe was he ever offered a head coaching job in college when he was maybe in the NFL, that he had an opportunity to say, you know what, I really maybe want to do that one time, or was he hell bent on being an NFL head coach?
No. He was hell bent on doing a good job coaching and supporting his family.
Yep.
So the career path, the truth is we both got tired of college football.
Okay.
And wanted to get out. So we'd been in pro football, went back to college. I was back and forth for a while. And then we both let's not look back because college is a whole different thing now. Don't get me started on the NCAA. But no, I don't think he would say that. I think he would say, and this is my perspective, that whether you're fired or you move on to a different job, whatever the reason is, it ends up for the best. And I tell young new coaches' wives this. I said, I know you're a woman of faith. So now is when your husband loses his job, that's when faith becomes really important.
Right.
You don't understand at the time why it's for the best.
Right.
But someday, I promise you'll look back and you'll say, oh my gosh, every time we had to move, every time, we were unemployed for several months or whatever, every time it ended up being for the best in one way or another. And I don't think he has any regrets. There are some jobs that, was really hard at the time and kind of wished he had made a different choice or had a different choice. But no, I don't think so.
How many opportunities over his career were, I know you were a critical element in making these decisions and helping him weigh out the pros and cons, I'm sure. Maybe not the football part of it, but the just the living and the moving and all that with young kids. How many times did you really feel good about, hey, I really helped him make a great decision here? He was maybe leaning another way to do something else, and I really influenced him and helped him do that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Everything was always joint, I didn't try to tell him which job to take. And a lot of times, by the way, you don't have an option. You take the one that's available. But he always wanted his family with him.
Yep.
We're not one of those coaching families that, the kids and the wife stay behind till the kid graduates high school or whatever. Nope, doesn't happen. He wanted us with him. So he would start house hunting. And he'd narrow it down to a neighborhood or an area of town. He'd narrow it down to 4 houses, maybe. Allow me to see the 4 houses. Let me know which one he wanted. And that's usually the one I wanted. Because he wanted me and the kids to be there as soon as possible. Right. Usually took, about 3 months or whatever.
Right.
But
right.
Yeah.
All right. Talk about you're spending some time at your lake house up in Georgia. Talk about how is this going to kind of be your retirement house? Is where you think you're going to settle?
This has been the forever home since we bought it.
Okay.
Yes. You know, it's a small rural community. It is growing, but it's just so beautiful and so peaceful. It's like our own, this sounds silly, I guess, but it's like our own little resort.
Yeah.
We're both getting to the point where, like, we don't even have a desire to get in a plane and go someplace tropical, because we can look out our window and see water and hear the birds and, you know, hear the water. We have fountains and stuff, so hear the water running.
Right.
Like, we have everything we need right here.
Do you guys like the water? It sounds like you enjoy getting out on the boat.
Yeah, we do. We're more lake people than ocean people, quite honestly, and we're not really beach people. Right. You're gonna die when I tell you this. We haven't been to the beach. Well, we've been on the beach to like walk over and see the water when we were at a bar or something,
right,
in St. Pete, but we haven't been to the beach to like lay on the beach since we've lived in Tampa.
And I'm with you. I grew up in Tampa, and you get so used to it, of the water being there, that you don't ever go as just to have a fun day at the beach. And I'm with you. I rarely go to the beach just to go to the beach.
Yeah.
It's funny how that happens.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you're listening to the Powers on Sports podcast. We've got the great joy of talking to Miss Christine Arians, Bruce Arians' wife, and talk to us about, again, you're an attorney in your background. You have a law degree and all that good stuff. So all those accomplishments, and talk to me about your foundation. You guys just had a big event back in April. You have an annual event here in Tampa. I know you do stuff all around the country. Give the audience a little perspective of the 8th annual Arians Family Foundation event that you guys had in April in Tampa.
Yeah, so it was a blast. The weather cooperated. We were out at Innisbrook. We were on the Copperhead course this time. Right. So everybody was thrilled because they got to play Copperhead. Wonderful support from the sponsors, from the Bucks. The Bucks are the Glazers that own that team are the most generous owners, I think, in the league. Very, very, very supportive. And, you know, I would say we didn't raise quite as much money as we did Super Bowl year, but that's what we have kind of found is the pattern. You know, you have a big year, you might have a couple smaller years, and then hopefully you do something great and a big year again. But lots of support from the players, coaches, just wonderful. So hopefully we got a lot of publicity, because part of why we do what we do is to recruit volunteers to be the GAL volunteer or the CASA volunteer, depending on the state and how the programs work, that work with the foster kids directly and make recommendations to the court based on the best interests of the child. What does that child need to be, you know, to grow up to be successful and happy? So there's never enough volunteers, you know, and there's just so many kids in the system. It's just so sad. I wish
those of you that don't know, the Arians Family Foundation, kind of the theme of it is, and the initiatives they really concentrate on are working with foster kids and in variety of different states. I know you've talked to me about Arizona. You guys have stuff in Arizona, Pennsylvania, obviously here in Florida. Just talk about the joy you get about seeing kids that have had a tough background, a tough upbringing, get help that they need, and get the support that they really need to excel moving forward.
That's what I have found out about volunteer work. So I went from being a family attorney, where you're dealing with basically broken families that want divorces and stuff. And then I found my first CASA program. Actually, we were in Indianapolis with the Colts. And it was like, oh my gosh, I love this. And I actually worked for that organization as an attorney, but I also volunteered. And I realized the volunteering, I feel good every day. I don't know how to fix the world, but I can help a child every day. And every little bit of help adds up, you know? And so it was like, whoa, I love this. So in a way, volunteering became almost selfish on my part because I loved doing it. It was hard. Don't get me wrong. It is hard to work with some of the circumstances you're working with, but that's the thing. I can't not do it. Like you see the need. I just feel like I have to do it. And we've recruited a bunch of people over the years that hopefully feel the same way. I know they feel the same way because they keep doing it. So, yeah.
The good thing is you're going to have one more volunteer to be able to help you more this moving forward, and coach.
Oh, yeah. So he knows from the last time he tried to retire. Here in Georgia, it's a different program from Tampa, for example, because it's rural lake counties, but there's still lots of kids in need. And the hardest kids I have found over the years, at least for me, are teenage boys. They have a lot of anger, well-deserved anger, but they act out on it. Little old ladies are not probably their favorite thing in the world. So, and maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I can't imagine a teenage boy that doesn't relate to Bruce,
Right.
So my theory is we will become Cocasas. He'll go through the training with me. You have to go through the training for each separate program.
Right.
And we will become Cocasas. And I already told Lori, the director here, I said, just, pick out those hard teenage boys and give us those cases and we'll go to town.
That's great. I mean, you guys do great work. Again, you guys are in multiple markets around the country. And that's the cool thing about so many celebrities or famous coaches and that kind of stuff is you don't see a lot. I mean, everybody probably does a little bit of it, but you guys are really out in front and center and doing that and very open about it. I think that's a great thing for everybody in the community. And like you said, Bruce is a great guy to probably for a teenage kid to deal with because he's straight and real and he doesn't sugarcoat things. And that's what teenagers need to hear. You hate to say it, especially from somebody that's been successful. They need to hear the straight talk of this is how it's going to be in the world when you get to be an 18-year-old kid. And when you're
and so many of the boys don't have a father figure in their life, hopefully they do, maybe a grandfather or something like that, but no such thing as too many people to love a kid. So.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. All right, so how do you think, a couple more questions, I'll get you out of here. How do you think how are you gonna change? Do you think you're gonna change it all when you're watching the games in the fall? And obviously Bruce might be at the game but not on the sidelines. Y'all might be sitting together up in the stands or up in the box. How do you think your fandom is going to change at all?
Well, we will have our suite, or I will have my suite. My husband will not sit with me.
No.
For one more year. Well, that was one of the first things I asked him. I said, "You gonna want to watch games with me?" He said, "Hell no." So he and Jason have a plan. I know Jason's been on the sideline the last few years. Bruce will not be on the sideline.
No.
He doesn't want to look over his guys' shoulders, and he doesn't want to get the team in trouble for cussing out the refs. Because when you're not the coach, they don't cut any slack on that. So they have a plan, sitting together somewhere and analyzing everything. And so we'll be at the game. We'll go to the games together, but we won't be together. And I actually look forward to start watching them on TV, quite honestly. It's a production. We've had so much, we have ever since he's been a head coach. We just have so much company game weekend.
Right.
And I used to do the driving and lead a caravan of cars to the stadium and blah, blah, blah. And I stopped doing that. I just hired a driver with a Sprinter van. And it's like, if you're at my house at such and such a time, we'll give you a ride to the stadium. Otherwise, you're on your own. But still, it's a production, and I'm the one that has to organize it. And I will happily get out of that business.
What are you have any things on your bucket list that you and Bruce kind of want to do in the next couple of years, whether it's just as a couple and things that maybe you haven't gotten around to doing yet?
Probably not. I will tell you, I felt like when he won the Super Bowl as a head coach, I felt like my bucket list was done, which is silly because I'm not the one who won the game, but
But you're just
that's
as
the way I
involved.
felt, you know. And this is what we want to do. We want to spend as much time as possible with our family.
Good.
We'd like to be able to start going to Virginia Tech games. That's where Bruce played college football. We're both grads from there.
Yep.
And just little things like that. We don't have any plans to, hike the mountains or travel the world or, that kind of thing. Maybe we'll fit some of that stuff in, maybe not. I don't know. We're pretty content. I'm so happy here at the lake. It's just like, I don't even have to get in the car and go to the store. I can just be here all day and be happy.
No, that's
seriously.
Well, you guys have both had a great career, and I really appreciate the time. And you guys have been such a blessing for this, for the city of Tampa, for doing what you guys have done, coming here and changing things around. So I really want to thank you guys for forget the on the field stuff, and all the good stuff you guys do in the community. And you've brought back the joy of football to this community. Seriously.
Well, because I will tell you, Tampa's our favorite place we've ever coached and ever lived. The people are lovely. I could tell you stories about other places. We'll just mention one, Pittsburgh in particular.
Okay.
Which is crazy. We won 1 to 3 Super Bowls there in his 8 years there. And yet people would stop him in the street and criticize his coaching or carry signs at the stadium, fire Arians. I mean, just.
Yeah, stupid.
Yeah. 2 things I wanted to mention though, Jason. One is Arians Family Foundation is trying a new program where we will reach out to the schools and offer volunteer opportunities for the high school kids with the foundation. It's called our Speak program. Oh dear, I'm not going to remember all the letters. Serving with a purpose to empower and advocate for kids. And we're just getting it off the ground. Shelby, Jake's wife, is heading that up. We're starting in Arizona because you got to sort of figure out how to do it before you can spread it to any other programs. So we're really excited about that. And I just wanted to mention ariansfamilyfoundation.com is the website. Yes. You can find out about, I don't know if you can find out about Speak there yet, because we just had the meeting, the first organizational meeting. But you can donate there. You can kind of find out what we're up to there. You can find out how to contact us there.
Very cool. Very cool. I know you guys, like I said, I know you guys do a lot of different work. And is Jake and Shelby both out? They're both out in Arizona. Is that where they're based out of?
Yeah.
Yep, so definitely Google Arians Family Foundation. I've been on their website. They do a great job with all their different programs, and very easy to understand and read, and contact them if you have any questions. If you want to donate, they would love the support, and they will definitely reach out to you and get you involved in a program. But again, just from my perspective, I very much appreciate your time. Enjoy your summer out on the lake. I know you're gonna enjoy all that downtime, and I know you've served a great role over coach's coaching career, doing all the great things you've done behind the scenes, and you're just as much a part of the success as coaches. So I just want to thank you again for being open to doing this, and would love to stay in touch with you.
Absolutely. Good seeing you, Jason.
Great, Christine. Have a great summer, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Bye-bye.